Hello everyone, I am Professor GonGoon, and this is Class 5 of Leagueology. In today's lesson, we'll go into more detail on trading. For those that don't know, I'm no mobiologist or anything, but I assume the term trading became known as such because you trade damage and other resources with your opponents to try and gain an advantage. In most scenarios, the player that does the most damage wins the trade, but that's not always the case. What if the guy who lost the trade had 5 potions, while the guy who won had 1? That's why it's important to check the enemy's resources and items. Before you engage, you should know how many potions your opponent has, which type of potions they are, and what items they currently have. If you have no potions or sustain, but your opponent has both, you should avoid all trades unless you can kill him before he has the time to heal up. Not only do you need to be aware of items and potions and the war of attrition, you also need to keep in mind yours and the enemy champion's skill set. If the enemy is maxing W as Lee Sin, which gives him a shield, lifesteal, and spell vamp, he will out-sustain most of the damage you do. Treat it just like you would treat potions and change up your strategy if you have to. Also, while we're on the topic of champions, that's the one thing you need to factor in every time you trade. In general, playing against the same type of champions, as in melee or range, is similar, but some champions have certain types of skills that you need to look out for. For example, your strategy against Darius and Aurelia should not be the same. Let's use Kennen for this example. Going against Darius in the early levels is pretty easy. He has no gap closer. He doesn't have much range. However, he does have a skill that pulls you towards him. The range on his pull is 540 units, only 10 units shorter than Kennen's auto attack range, which is 550. So if you do auto attack, you need to be prepared to get pulled because it's near impossible to escape it. So when you do go to auto attack, you need to have skills available or passive stacks on him, so when you do get pulled, you stun him. While his pull is down, you can constantly harass him because he has no way to punish you. Now with Aurelia, you can punish her really hard early game, but as she gains items and levels, you have to be cautious. Kennen is very squishy and Aurelia has a stun, a gap closer, and tenacity to reduce the duration of Kennen's stuns. So engaging and sticking onto Kennen is not a problem for Aurelia. In this matchup, you have to pressure really hard early game, and you also need to keep a watch on the health of your minions, because Aurelia will be looking to dash to them. And that brings us to our next topic, positioning. Positioning is also known as spacing. Some people will argue you to the death that they are different, but to me, they're the same. When people say someone has good spacing, it means that he positions himself well in lane, so that he avoids or makes it hard to harass him. He minimizes the amount of damage that he takes. I guess if there was a difference between positioning and spacing, it would be that it is referred to as spacing in lane and positioning in skirmishes and team fights. But I think spacing is one of the most important aspects to laning, and I think once you become good at spacing, you simultaneously learn how to read your opponent. You learn to predict their next move, and if you want to be a great laner, these 2 skills are necessary. The trick to getting better at this is to put yourself in your opponent's shoes and figure out what they want to do. If your opponent has a ranged ability that they can harass you with, expect them to throw it at you when you attempt to last hit a creep. Predict it and be ready to dodge and counterattack. Move in a way that makes the enemy think that they are able to predict your path, but as soon as they throw their skill out, dodge it and counterattack with your abilities. This is a technique that is mostly seen in higher levels of play. Another thing that is more commonly seen in higher levels of play is factoring creep waves into your trades. In case you didn't know, auto attacking the enemy champion near his minions will make the minions attack you. However, you would not aggro the creeps by using abilities. Early on in the game, having 3 to 5 creeps hitting you will more than likely do more damage than a champion would. Creeps do a lot of damage early game. And before you engage in a fight, you need to look at yours and the enemy's creep wave. If your opponent is inside of a huge creep wave, you will lose nearly all trades because of the amount of damage you will take from creeps. Likewise, if you can kite or bait your opponent into fighting you in a huge creep wave, you will win the trade. Hitting opponents with crowd control while they take creep damage is really good as well. Also, One more thing that most people don't take notice to when fighting in creep waves is that area of effect abilities will damage enemy minions and cause your wave to push. I have already shown this clip before, but I'm going back to it so that I can point something out. You'll notice that I'm not playing aggressively and I'm pretty close to level 3. The reason why I'm playing so passively is because I want to catch him off guard and hit level 3 and all in him. For the most part it worked, but I tunnel visioned so hard on hitting level 3 and all in him that I completely forgot that he was going to hit level 3 as well and miscalculated my damage. When you're laning, constantly look at your experience bar to see how close you are to leveling, and try to keep a note on when an enemy will level as well. If you've both been in lane for the same amount of time, then chances are he will level around the same time as you. Levels are really important. Having 3 skills while your enemy has 2 will let you win most trades. If possible, start fighting the enemy before you're about to level up. If he takes the bait, either kill a low minion with an AoE skill and let your minions take care of it, and go back on the enemy after you have leveled up. A quick tip to level skills easily is to do control plus the skill you want to level. So if you want to level your Q, press control and Q at the same time. If you don't already know these things, try to learn them one by one in your future games. Make a mental note, or maybe write it in chat or on a piece of paper near you. There are so many things that make up laning as a whole, and if you can learn these things, your laning skills will improve more than you can imagine. Performing these actions is similar to taking a steroid, but instead of getting buff, you become a beast at League of Legends. And I would like to close this video out by reminding you to think while you play. Think about which items you should get and why. When you perform an action, consider the alternatives and decide if that was the best course of action. Thinking while you play is the best way to improve. Hopefully, you'll learn something from watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If there was something you strongly liked or disliked, or if you have video topics that you would like to see me cover in the future, comment below and tell me what they are. And if you did enjoy the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks for watching. GonGoon signing out. Peace.